Bum, bum.
Would you like to get to know more about the people behind Theatrephonic, the writers, the actors and directors? Well, now you can. Our Patreon members have the opportunity to ask questions which our creatives will then answer, if I can get hold of them. Find out everything you want to know about the people behind the characters. Visit patreon.com/Theatrephonic for more information. That's patreon.com/Theatrephonic. On with the play.
Bum, bum.
Theatrephonic presents Tiny Tears. Written and performed by Geraldine Brennan.
Ba-ya-da.
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 Ba-ya-da. Ba-ya-da.
You all right, Barbara? Are you chilly? There you go. Have they cut your toenails? You have to ask so many times to get anything done in this place. A lady on the 5th floor died because she couldn't eat. They took her food away before she could pick a fork up. But you're all right for food, aren't you? You've got a tube. If you had have got out... Oh, I don't like to say it like that, but it's a big bloody if, isn't it? You can't hang about these days. It's like a short stay car park. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, I was able to leave it another 6 months and didn't have to go ahead and let them switch you off like they want me to. Well, if you were lying there for another 6 months, would you lose all your weight? That's what we should all do, isn't it? Never mind slimming world. Just get ourselves on a drip for 6 months. You haven't lost any weight, though, so far, I don't think. Doesn't look like it. It shows you've been maintaining on what they're giving you. That's not too bad. To be fair, you never did manage to lose, did you, Barb? No matter what you did. Not even on those meal replacements that made your hair fall out. I've always been trim. Not as skinny as our Sheila, but trim. I take after Mummy like that. It's all about discipline. I had to watch what I was eating when I was looking after Daddy and couldn't get out to Zumba. Or get out anywhere except hospital appointments or church. It's a shame he never made it in to visit you. It was too much to organise, to be honest. Well, you never made it to the funeral. And our Sheila was in the Seychelles. Daddy wasn't that nice, you know, after he had his stroke. A stroke can remove your inhibitions. He wouldn't hold back from telling me if I didn't look nice, if my roots were showing or I had ladders in my tights. You're the only one left at home and look at the state of you. I'll never get rid of you. He looked forward to Sheila visiting. A bit of glamour. Like Princess Diana showing up. Someone like that, anyway. Sheila reminded him of Mummy. Mummy looked like a teenager when she died. We've all taken after her, except you. I'm not being horrible, I'm just saying. If we were all the same, it'd be boring, wouldn't it? Our Sheila's always going to spas and detoxing. She wants to cut down on the Prosecco. Where's my phone? Look at her now, in a bikini. She looks too thin now. That's the risk you take, isn't it, Bob? I don't know why I'm showing you really, but I heard this bloke phoning into Radio Merseyside last week. His mum was like you, in your condition, and he reckoned she understood everything he said. Anyway, I've just finished packing up Daddy's stuff. With most of it, you'd be lucky to give it away. It's done me back and forth to Bernardo's. I've got my eye on a one-bedroom now. Nice and clean, minimalist, off Smithdown Road where there's a bit of life. You can just run round the corner and pick up sushi. So I was looking for the premium bonds and I found a box of old glasses and teeth, and look at this. Do you know what this is? Who knows if you do or you don't? Tiny Tears' little dress. Oh, Tiny Tears. You filled her up to make her cry and wet herself. Everyone at school at Girls' World, they said Tiny Tears was pathetic, but Mummy always said she'd get me one. She would have done if she hadn't died. It broke my heart when we lost Tiny Tears on the way to New Brighton. Not that we ever got to bloody New Brighton. I'd got a big bag of change for the slot machines and everything. I was going to go on the water slide. But little Alice spoiled everything. The policewoman kept saying, "Don't worry, you're not in trouble." I cried when she was asking me questions, but I was really crying because I knew we wouldn't get to New Brighton now. And I wouldn't see Tiny Tears again. They found Alice, but they didn't find Tiny Tears. And I didn't tell anyone Tiny Tears had drowned as well. You and our Sheila were competing to see who could whinge the most. You should have been in trouble for leaving me and Alice on our own, but they let you off. Daddy was the one people talked about, letting us go out for the day without a grown-up, although Sheila was 16. She never got the blame. It wasn't fair that little Alice got Tiny Tears. The time Auntie Joan won on the Littlewood pools just before my birthday, you got a cassette player, and our Sheila got a big bottle of Charlie perfume, and I got a bar of Southport Rock. A big one, but still. You're too big for dolls now, Auntie Joan said. And Daddy just said, "Say thank you to your auntie." Alice was far too young for Tiny Tears. She didn't know how to look after her. But she would do that smug face like she had hold of baby Jesus. She'd make out she was being nice, but she wasn't. Like a thing with saving seats. If we were on the bus or even the settee, she'd save seats for you and Daddy and our Sheila, everyone but me. When we were at Mummy's funeral and she was only 3, she did it then, and we all had to pretend it was cute. She needed a smack. Alice would carry Tiny Tears, and I'd have to push Tiny Tears' pram. I wasn't even allowed to touch her. You were the worst, Bob. You were right up our Sheila's backside. You'd pretend to be nice to me, but you'd tell on me if you saw me picking Tiny Tears up or changing a nappy or anything. Our Sheila was always picking on me. Mummy never did that. Whenever I did anything, the slightest thing, it would be, "You should know better. You're grown up now." I couldn't get out of the house without little bloody Alice. "Take Alice, take your sister. She's only little. Don't be mean, you've made her cry now." One time when I managed to have Tiny Tears for half an hour, Daddy was watching me. "Are you still a baby or what?" he said. But he mainly used to ignore me. He would tell you knock-knock jokes, and he would say that Sheila had taken Mummy's place because she was doing the tea. And he'd pick Alice up because she was always crying. But he'd just look at me and walk out of the door. He bought us all cornettos once and handed you and Sheila and Alice yours. But he left mine on the table and it melted. No one even noticed Tiny Tears came with us to New Brighton. No one looked for her afterwards. We were on the pier head waiting for the ferry, and you and our Sheila were following some lads around. Of course, it was Sheila they were interested in, because she was slim. That was your life, wasn't it, Bob? God love you. I told you I wasn't going if I had to look after Alice. And you said I wouldn't have to, Bob. You promised. But as soon as we got off the bus, you and our Sheila were off talking to those lads. And there I was, stuck pushing a doll's pram. And there she was, waving Tiny Tears around and sucking her thumb. She was treating Tiny Tears like a rag doll. I told her to be careful, and she took no notice of me. I was that mad. I said she was retarded. And she said, Mummy didn't like you. So I grabbed Tiny Tears and threw her halfway to Birkenhead. Well, I tried to. She didn't go far. You could see her floating 6 feet out among all the chip wrappers and ciggies and orange peel. You could see she might drown. And then I said to little Alice, go on, jump in and get Tiny Tears. Jump! So, little Alice jumped into the River Mersey at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, and nobody noticed. Not you or our Sheila or anyone. I watched her for a bit. And once I couldn't see her anymore, I counted to 10. Then I folded up Tiny Tears' pushchair and put it under a bench. No one remembered that I'd been pushing it all morning. Of course they wouldn't, would they? Who would notice me trailing along behind? And when I'd done all that, I shouted you. But it took a long time for you to stop messing with those lads. I was Daddy's least favourite, but still I was the one who was left at home with him when he needed looking after. You wouldn't wish that on anyone, me or him. Are you all right, Bob? Shall I take a picture to send to our Sheila? Not that she's bothered, but anyway. Say cheese. Oh, I should have brushed your hair for you. What if you woke up and saw yourself with your hair a mess? You won't wake up though. You won't.
You have been listening to Tiny Tears, written and performed by Geraldine Brennan. Produced by Cat on a Piano Productions. For a full list of the music in this production, please see the show notes. The Theatrephonic theme tune was composed by Jackson Pentland, performed by Jackson Pentland, Mollie Fyfe-Taylor, and Emmeline Braefield. For more information about the Theatrephonic podcast, go to catonapiano.uk/Theatrephonic, tweet or Instagram us at Theatrephonic, or visit our Facebook page. If you enjoy Theatrephonic and would like to get more content, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Theatrephonic. Please don't forget to rate and review. Thank you for listening.